So are we ready?
This is Jay.
This is A,
And this is Moxicated.
where we drop the booze and walk through the reality of life alcohol-free.
So grab your favorite mock, get ready to laugh, and let's get Moxicated.
Hello and welcome back.
To Moxicated. Hello and welcome back to Moxicated. It's your favorite hosts,
Yes.
Jay and A.
J and A, here we are.
We are here with another episode of your favorite podcast.
Yes. Yeah.
It's your favorite one, right? It's okay. I know you're nodding. How's it going?
Good.
Good.
How are you?
I'm good. You know, I was a little triggered. I'm not triggered, okay? I just
Whoa, you said it, not
I
me,
know.
okay?
I
Don't
didn't
get mad
say
at
it
me.
triggered. Just I don't want the people to think I'm triggered.
Oh,
You know
okay.
what I mean?
Yeah, the people.
The people, because one of my guilty pleasures, right? And it's like actually kind of guilty. And the only reason it's guilty is because like if people in my real life I think I'm funny, but if people in my real life knew how much time I spent doing this, they would probably be like, you need some help. But one of my guilty pleasures, not so much on Instagram, although I have been known to do it on Instagram, I like troll the trolls.
I love it. Well, no, I love doing that too because I'm like the bully to the bullies.
The best thing to do is to go and look at their profile and like find, okay, this is me giving you like my like material, like
Yeah.
my formula for trolling. Like you have to go to the profile and find something on there that like is hilarious that you can call out about them. So like basically what I do is on our local news stations. That's who I target because that's where the real nuts are. I'm just going to tell you, I'm one of them. Okay. And they'll just comment the craziest stuff. Like, and there's people that don't even live in New Mexico. So that'll be my first thing. Like, I'll talk about something like, why are you even, this is New Mexico. It's funnier than that, you guys. You just maybe will come across on one time. But like these people are so mean and like just cruel. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I like to get the topics range, whatever the news covers, I'll comment on. And if it has to do with alcohol, you can bet your bottom dollar I will be in the comments. But like there was one guy who like had a bunch of stuff about Milli Vanilli in his,
Oh gosh.
in his profile. And he was like real mad on the comments. So I was like, why don't you go put on a Milli Vanilli record and calm down? And then
I should have made him so mad too.
And then there's people that were like raising money for like Wounded Warrior or something, okay? And then they're like being a like comment warrior under the news.
Oh,
and I'm
gosh.
like, why don't you go take these warrior skills and go back because you did not fulfill like your fundraising goal for Wounded Warrior. And I think that you should spend more time on that than in the comments.
Yes.
And it really brings me great joy. Like, it really does. And I think on the outside, it looks so unhinged, you guys. And I know it. I know it does. That's why it's a guilty pleasure. Because it's unhinged behavior. But
You
it
want
makes
to
me feel
know
great.
what's unhinged?
Well, what's your guilty pleasure is what I want to know.
Well, I was going to say the books I listen to. Very unhinged.
Like, people know you listen to books. That's not, you know, the furthest thing.
Yes,
but it's
no. Well, and I find it funny because I'm so in the book world. Like, I don't think people really realize because I don't put in like my feed about my books or like really talk about it in the feed.
Yeah.
But every one, like Saturday or Sunday, I put like what I've read that week and a little tiny snippet on my threads, and then I share it to my Instagram story.
Oh, yes.
But only the other like people that have read these books comment or talk about it because
it's like if you know type of situation.
yes. And some of these books, like the level of smut is so insane that I feel like the biggest freak, like when I like have a common book with like a teacher or librarian, I'm like, oh my God. Oh my. Like, holy. And I mean, I love all books. I love the serial killer. I love the psychological thrillers. I love the fairy. I love some romantic. But man, those fairy smut books, and then the next level, like it's definitely a guilty pleasure. And you would think that I would be like a freak in the sheets, and it's totally opposite. I'm like such a prune, but just listen to like the craziest.
This is like your outlet for that. You're like, that's where I get it out in my books. I have no need anywhere else.
Yeah, no, and it is so funny and hilarious.
And like it checks though, because it's like something you have always loved, like the mystical. And then you've always had, some charged dreams.
Yeah.
And so it's like
charged dreams.
It's like brings them together.
Yeah. I'm like, maybe that's another guilty pleasure, or my insane sex dreams that I have.
You can't control those. Those just come whenever. Your body needs it.
It's insane. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. I had my first celebrity dream. I just have to tell you this.
Oh.
We did not have sex. And I'm so sorry if this like turns people one way or the other. I'm not trying to do it. It is what it is. But it was Barack Obama. I can't breathe. And he was the most like sensual, gentle. I was literally like in a dream I was like a president. He used to be a president. Like a whole ass president wants to be with me. And like I'm like, well, it makes sense because we both make great playlists. And then I woke up and was like, I think I just had a celebrity dream. And I would have never, ever thought it was Barrio. Never. Barrio. But I was very thankful for it. Something I'm not guilty about.
I've never had one with the real president, but the president in Scandal. He's entered some of my dreams.
Something presidential. I have a thing for George Washington and Hamilton.
George Washington.
In Hamilton.
I was going to say, next time we go swimming, I'm doing my hair George Washington style.
It's the Hamilton version. Just something about it gets me going.
I had no clue this conversation was going this way. Welcome.
Some fantasy situations that we love. And now we're going to talk about some sober situations that we may not love.
I can't breathe.
Good times. Presidents and fairies and vampires. Oh my.
Oh my.
So we came across these thoughts of pivot. Talking about situations that we consistently find ourselves in being sober.
Yes.
And how we handle them. We feel like as elder sobers.
Elder sobers.
I just gave us that name.
It resonates because I'm in a lot of elder groups.
As elders in the community, we've had a lot of experiences in these situations, and we've had a lot of not just like one time, like multiple times over and over experiencing.
Yes.
So why not put our wisdom to use?
So wise.
Someone in the Facebook comments today said, I can tell you're college educated by your comment. And I was like, is that a bad thing?
You're like, thank you.
I really hope people always judge me like this. So we're going to put that wisdom to use and just come up with some sober situations and very just, I don't know, honestly answer how we would handle it, how we have handled it if it hasn't happened, and how we will handle it.
Yeah.
If I said that right.
Yeah.
Okay. The number one thing that I feel like everyone gets into, everyone talks about it. And as common as it is, I still feel like people don't know what to do when it happens, or caught off guard. So how would you handle someone assuming you quit drinking because you were an alcoholic?
Well, it's happened a million times. And it's actually kind of interesting because lately I have been almost like reevaluating how I identify myself.
Ooh.
And I am actually leaning more on the alcoholic side, which is interesting because when I truly sit down and like dive deep into those years of like everyday night drinking like full bottles a day, like it was alcoholism.
Yeah, it checks the
But
boxes
yeah,
for
it
you.
checked all the boxes for me. But also it's such a rude question for people.
It's so rude.
It feels so triggering to be like, so why are you an alcoholic? You know, like, can you at least schmooze me before you like build it up a little
Buy
bit?
me a coffee and some flowers first.
No, just like, because it seriously, that is like one of the first questions people will ask. How do you feel when it's asked?
Honestly, it's so interesting because before I even felt like answering it, and that last thing, my brain wanted me to give a little compassion to people because I think it's natural to be curious. And I think a lot of people are struggling with their relationship with alcohol. Yes. So that question feels so loaded because it's like loaded with their emotions behind alcohol. And this is assumptions, maybe are trying to find an excuse why someone who quit drinking was worse than they are.
Yes.
So I think that is kind of where someone else is coming from. Maybe not all the time. Maybe they're just nosy. And I tend to, I guess I don't really care.
Yeah.
If someone asks me why, I did have a problem with drinking. I don't think I was an alcoholic because I didn't drink all day, every day. I took breaks from it. I knew when to stop, but I think I had AUD hardcore. I think I relied on alcohol for my emotional support. And where does that mean you're an alcoholic? Maybe, but I tend to be like, well, I stopped drinking. The number one thing is when someone asks me why I stopped drinking because I didn't know my limits. I could never moderate no matter how much I tried. I blacked out all the time and I didn't want to live my life like that.
Yeah. See, and when people ask me, why did you stop drinking? I say, because I hate the drunk version of myself. I hate who I was at that point. Like,
it's almost like it turns it back on them.
Yeah.
And it's like, assume, like, if to you that means I was an alcoholic, then to you that means I was an alcoholic. But this is why I don't drink. And I think that taking the label off of it and just explaining what it is makes it more human.
Yeah.
And those people that maybe are asking you that question because they have their own struggles with alcohol are like, oh wait, like they see themselves in that answer more than like, well, because I'm an alcoholic.
Yeah. Yes, totally. No, and even last week it was kind of surprising to me, but someone that doesn't know me that well, but knows me well enough, said the phrase, during your alcoholism. And I was like,
oh, that would catch me off guard.
And I just like tried to like smoothly, I was like, yeah, that was a time in my life. It was in a professional setting.
Now we all made choices, Jane.
Yeah. It wasn't very, it was in a professional setting. Yeah. So I couldn't be like, yo, you want to talk about it? Like,
meet me outside.
I just was like, yes. A different version of my life,
I think it does go worth saying though how offensive it is. And in early sobriety, we were constantly offended by this as elders. We have more understanding, but there's a Jim Gaffigan, like a famous sketch, and it was like one of my first TikToks. So this is like in 2020 times. But he's like, I always think it's so funny when people ask people, why'd you stop drinking? Did you have a problem with alcohol? Like, nobody does that with mayonnaise. They're like, you don't eat mayonnaise. Why? Did you have a problem with mayonnaise? And it's just so true, and like we've talked about this before, especially with all of the dietary things, especially that you have endured. No one is like hounding you about it. Like, I think people are interested, but it's not like, oh, you had a problem. Yeah. It's filled with way more compassion, grace, and curiosity, where that question always feels like it comes from that place. Yeah. Like, oh, you had a problem. Like,
yeah. Yes, totally.
And it's not that.
No.
People can quit drinking for their health.
Yes. And because they just don't want to drink anymore.
True that. Has anyone ever asked you if you went to rehab?
Yes. Many times. And that one, the first time, what like caught me so off guard, because once again, it was in a professional setting at a work dinner, and there was another employee, or like, I guess, co-worker. I don't know what these people are to me, but colleague, and he didn't drink too. And I, like, when he said, you know, I'm sober as well, and I was like, oh, cool. And then they looked at me and they were like, so did you have to go to rehab? And I was in front of people I just met in a work setting, and I was just like, no. And that was it. When you guys know, I can talk forever.
No.
And then I like looked to the other person and I was like, so why don't you drink? Just to like get the like it all off of me.
Yeah.
And then he kind of just explained that it didn't work well when he was younger, and so he hasn't drank for over 25 years and all this stuff.
Wow.
And it was, but I have thought about how then I put like the light on him. And I felt bad about that, being like, why wouldn't I just be like, I just don't want to drink, you know? But It was like, I felt so much pressure from that. Because there's such a stigma around rehab. Like, once again, the problem, like, you couldn't do it yourself, you know? And it's like, no, if you need rehab, great. Like, it is a great place to go and get help. And some people, that is how their brain is wired to be able to quit such a heavy addiction.
Yeah,
it's needed. And
we know several people in our community that tried multiple times and needed rehab, and that was the only thing that stuck. I don't know if anyone's ever asked me. I think a lot of people probably assumed. But I'm going to tell you something that I know people are going to judge me for, but it's just my honest truth. A part of me always wanted to go to rehab.
Yeah, no, I agree in like a weird way.
I wanted it because I wanted, especially when I was in my AUD and I didn't know I was so reliant on alcohol, or like didn't want to admit I was an alcoholic. I like wanted someone to do a secret intervention and take me away to Malibu's and whatever it was called where Lindsay Lohan went, and like just, I don't know why I love Lilo, but like have that time.
Yeah.
And then come back from it almost as an excuse.
Yeah.
Like, well, yeah, I had to go to rehab. Like, I think when I was...
Like, I had to take this break. I had to get out of this.
Yeah. It sounded, you know, I'm a very aesthetic, like, romantic person. So I romanticized rehab in my brain.
Yeah. When
When it's actually probably not that at all.
No. Well, no, and I think that... So I just listened to a book. It's in like an alcohol related book, and it talks a lot about wine culture and stuff. And one of the women in the book went to rehab, and she said how like when she got back into the real world, how people who have their own issue with their relationship with alcohol even discredited the rehab to turn it into almost like a retreat. Like,
luxurious.
Yes. Oh, like you needed to get away from your kids. Exactly.
Yes, like a vacation.
Yes, a vacation to go heal yourself while the real world, while the other parent took care of the children and were in the trenches while you got to go and heal. Like the stigma. Ugh, I have the chills because it just bugs. It's like, do you understand what this person is trying to do to better themselves? Like, and
this
so
is their
it's
last
just
resort.
Yeah, and I don't feel like that's a very uncommon way of thinking when you think about rehab. I think it's a very common thought that goes through other people's brains.
And on the flip side, some people need rehab to quit drinking, and that needs to be destigmatized also. Like, I so appreciate the people that have been to rehab that openly talk about it, because it is normalizing it. It isn't so much of like a thing either way. And I think it needs to be normalized too, because there's a million different ways that you can get help in this world.
All right. What about someone invites you to a boozy brunch or winery? How do you handle that?
I say no. I think it depends. For me, you guys all know I'm an introvert. I have my close people, and I'm not closed off to the outside world like I used to be. But at the same time, like if it is someone I love and care about and it's their birthday, or they've set like a girls thing and they're inviting me to it, like I would love to go, and I just have my Mox toolbox. I drive myself. I have my own drinks, whatever I need to be good. But if it's like something that I don't need to go to, then I just say no. And I am to the point where I'm okay, because I don't want to be in situations anymore that aren't for me, that make me feel weird in my own skin. And I think a situation where it is so alcohol drenched, especially early in sobriety, would make me feel so weird in my skin.
Yeah.
And even when you're comfortable, sometimes you can be like, this is weird. I don't know how to act.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't my space anymore. This isn't my scene anymore.
Yeah.
What about you?
Now I think I would handle it kind of the same. Like, no, thank you for inviting me. Like, cause I do still like to be invited.
Yes.
I am that person.
Always
I'm
invite.
like, I do still like to be included and invited. But I think in my early, like even a couple years ago, I used to get my feelings hurt really bad that I didn't get invited to like to brunches or to like heavily drinking places. I'm like, I still want to hang out with you guys. I still want to be your friend. Like I still want to be social. Like I don't have to drink to enjoy myself there. But yeah, it used to hurt my feelings a lot. Now, I don't really get invited to a lot of them anymore, which is fine. And I will like have like a little bit of like like wasn't invited to that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, okay, like Allie, you probably have other things going on. You know, I like talk myself off the ledge often. But yeah, it used to hurt my feelings a lot more not being invited to those things. And now I'm very comfortable with being like, no, thank you. Or,
what's right for you?
Like you missed that one and that's okay. I have a lot of other things going on.
Yeah. And another situation that we had on here is like, because that can come up with girls' trips, and I think people try to like not want to trigger you or like not want to put you in certain situations. So maybe they feel as if they're like protecting you by excluding you or whatever it may be. But at the same time, it's like you're taking all of my power away from me in my sobriety.
Yeah.
You know, like if something is not for me, let me be the one to say it's not for me.
Yeah.
And if I feel comfortable somewhere, let me shine and show you where I'm comfortable. Like I think that people might not be like malicious intent, even people trying to like be kind to you and like, oh, I don't want to. But at the same time, like don't take someone's power away. Like let them make their own decisions.
Yes, totally.
And on the flip side of that, if you're faced with this question, like you have your own power, you get to make your own decisions.
Yes, totally.
I was in the thick of like some therapy stuff the other day in my therapy appointment. And like I was crying pretty hard, and she looked at me and she was like, you know, this is still your life and you have the choice, and everything that you have, you still have.
Wow.
And you can keep it, and everything that you don't have is your choice. You can go get it if you want it.
Yeah.
And it literally, she was like, what changed? And I was like, you saying that to me. Like, give me the power. It's huge.
Yes.
And I think in sobriety, like you're scared to own your power, but with sobriety comes so much power. Like step into it, because it's there.
Yes. Yeah. No,
Waiting.
totally. I know. Okay. Next. Someone having non-alcoholic options for you at an event. How do you feel?
I'm so funny because I am not like, I don't mind a spotlight, but I also
don't want it. I notice this more with my food allergies. Like people try to accommodate me and I'm like, you have no idea. I'm allergic to everything. Yeah. Like they give me something that's like celiac safe and dairy free, but then it's loaded with lemon or tomato. And I'm like, tomato is almost worse for me than celiac. Like you tried so hard, but the spotlight, exactly what you said. Makes me cringe,
and I don't know why. Like, I feel like, again, that's us a little bit afraid of our power, like stepping into who we really are. Because like once I get past the like, this is also why I don't like opening gifts in front of people. Yeah. I will never open it. If you ever give me a gift and I open it in front of you, you consider yourself the most blessed human on this earth. Like it's just part of who I am. Yeah. I don't know, even talking about it right now, I'm like, oh my God, please don't make me open a gift in front of somebody. But after I get past that, it's like so cool. Yeah. I think it's the most thoughtful thing you can do to somebody in sobriety is maybe not even like offer it to them, but literally just have them there.
Yeah.
Like, here's our menu and here's this. Or like, you know, even as simple as a barbecue, one cooler is alcohol-free drinks, one cooler is alcoholic drinks. And in the alcohol-free cooler, please don't let it all be water.
Yeah. No, we do have one friend, Chris and I, that every time we see her, she brings like an alcoholic beer or non-alcoholic beer for us or something. Or
so
she
sweet.
like she does, and she brings like the mocktails and all that stuff. And I want to be like, I don't like that, but thank you.
Yeah.
But no, it is, and it does mean
such a
so.
sweet
It's
gesture.
such a sweet gesture.
I had someone, even before I was alcohol-free at my wedding, bring me like the Frey wine. I think it's Frey.
I think it's free.
F-R-E.
Yeah.
I think there's like
An accent like Ali.
Ale. Frey.
It's black. Ugh.
Anyways. Well, okay. I almost went into a different thing. But that was, you know, it was an interesting... I was so mad. I wanted to drink real wine, so I don't think I appreciated that as much as I should have. But, like, it's just such a meaningful thought to have.
It's so thoughtful. And I've actually been trying to work on myself lately on accepting thoughtful things because it's almost like accepting compliments. When people compliment you, you're like, no, but this and this and this. And it's just, thank you is the correct response,
right.
you know? And so even when in sobriety, in all of this, like, just accept it. People are trying so hard.
Yes.
You know, and it's us. We're the problem. No,
also, therapists, if you know how to help us with those two things, just DM us.
Yeah, just let us know.
Yeah, well, we need some help. Okay, how do you handle someone you just met offers you a drink?
Normally, just, no, I don't drink. And then if they're like, oh, come on, I'll say, no, I've been sober for 8 years.
Ooh.
And then that usually...
You like peel the onion.
Yeah.
One layer at a
and
time.
then sometimes if those people have been drinking, then they try to go deeper. And it kind of depends what mood you've caught me in. Because sometimes I'm like, oh, you want to go down this?
That's
like
spicy.
Yeah, I can tell you a lot. Or sometimes I just kind of nip it in the bud. And they can... I'm a very vibes person. You can tell when I'm opened to receive or take, and like you can read me very easily.
Yep. Same. Water in us.
What do you do?
I just say no thank you, I don't drink.
Yeah.
It is interesting because I feel like I'm only put in those situations by waiters.
Waiters, you guys need to listen to Mox more.
Like, don't...
Servers,
yes.
It's insane. We have been in some of the most uncomfortable positions, I feel like, at dinners with servers who are like just so rude about it.
We understand it's half your check, okay? But we're not ordering it.
Yeah.
And then your tip is also important.
Yeah.
No, but I went somewhere recently where I thought I was going to be asked. I wasn't. But I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm literally almost 6 years sober. And I was like, what do I say? Blah, blah, blah. And, in this situation, I was going to someone's home. I already had a drink and I knew, I was like, all I'm going to say is no, thank you. I don't drink. And then again, vibes. Like if they have curiosity and I can tell it's like real curiosity, then I'll go down that road with them totally. Like I'm not ashamed in sobriety. But that's another thing that like when you are newly sober, like maybe you don't want to talk about it and you don't want to go down that road. And you can just say like, no thanks, I don't drink. It's a personal choice I made. Like if you say it's a personal choice I made when they say why, and it's just a personal choice I made, and they continue to like want to press, that's probably your cue to walk away.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's your cue to leave.
Get out of that situation.
These people aren't for you in this phase of your life.
They definitely aren't.
Okay, I got lost. Hold on. Someone brings up your sobriety in front of a group.
Well, and that kind of happened to you. You kind of said that.
Yeah. It honestly happens often. And until I like say, well, actually, I have an alcohol-free podcast. And then they're like, oh, so like you really don't drink. And I'm like, I already said that.
You know what's so funny is when I was looking at these earlier, when I was preparing for today, I was like, Allie gets Allie gets put in this situation all the time. And it's so interesting that like once you tell them about Moxicated, it like validates it or like they're like, oh, okay. Like as if your journey wasn't as validated without Mox.
Yeah.
Like it makes it more like, oh, she's, like you said, like she's serious. This is the real deal, as if you weren't serious in the real deal before.
Like, I don't remember if I actually said this on the podcast, but this happened to me in the middle of a PTA meeting.
Oh my God, I don't
Did we talk about that on here or just?
And that's like people, that's like your school community.
Yeah, that's
your children.
The parent teacher association. And literally we're in the middle and he's like, oh my gosh, you're sober? Why are you sober? And then that's when I just feel all eyes on me. And so I'm like, okay, Allie, here you go. Like, ready to go.
Like, pull up the PowerPoint.
Yeah, and I even said, well, I have an alcohol-free podcast called Moxicated. And then he's like, oh, so you don't go to AA? And then I was like, no, AA isn't for me, but I built my own community, is what I said. And just tried to, like, I kept trying to end it, and it just kind of kept going. And even one of my friends later, another parent, she was like, whoa. She was like, are you okay? She was like, I felt like I could see the sweat starting. And I was like, yeah, that was like
a lot.
Because you guys know, I've said on this before that like with new parents, I'll go to the bar without them even knowing I don't drink yet. And they find out at the bar I don't drink. And so that was very uncomfortable for me. But also it kind of was like nice, because now all of PTA knows that I am sober and that I don't drink, and I will not be having mommy wine time, because right now I'm on a really big hate for mommy wine culture after this book I just finished. I really burned the wine glasses. Let's break some wine glasses, maybe.
Yeah, that'll help.
Yeah.
And I'm always, always you're a little opposite over here.
Yes.
I feel like I'm like dying for somebody to do this to me in front of a crowd. Like, bring it up. Let's
I know. Yeah. Well, and you're so good with words too. It would, and I just like, my foot goes further down sometimes. Like I can like talk well, but sometimes in these situations, I just get so awkward that I can't stop talking and it just keeps going.
Yeah. Well, and whereas I'm like, back when we were in high school, it was the worst, because not the worst, but I would always be the one to like talk the crap and then move out of the way, and our other friend would come through and like beat they were usually boys, beat the boys up. And because I'm so good at this, and I used to be like, man, I could never throw a punch. But now that we're adults, like, you can't throw punches, and I'm like, thank God I have these skill.
No, you do.
But nobody challenges me.
Yeah. If you're watching on YouTube, she just gave the meanest look.
Challenge me.
Straight into the camera. She's ready for a challenge.
Don't ever do that to people, because it's like, what the heck? Like, I want the challenge, but are you serious? Like, putting someone on the spot about a life choice in front of other people? Who would ever do that? That's like, why did you choose to go to Hawaii on vacation?
Yeah.
Like, even that. Like, why are you judging my life? What the heck? Anyways.
Yes. Okay. Oh, I love this one. Oh, wait. I think I might have
just
skipped it. I saw a different one. Okay. So wait. Back up. Someone tells your sobriety story for you.
I would literally murder them. I wonder if people have. I know that they have behind closed doors.
Yeah. Oh, no, for sure. Or I, not exactly my story, but when someone's been like, oh, no, don't worry, she doesn't drink. And I'm like, I can speak for myself.
It's again that power. Like, do you know how much power is in my sobriety story?
Yeah.
You don't get that.
Yeah.
That's not for you. You have your own story. I don't know if there is, I know that there's good intentions in everything, but like, if you break it down, is there a well-intentioned moment of telling somebody else's story to someone else? I don't think so.
No. And honestly, even when people, I can't think of an actual person being like, so why does Jesse not drink anymore? But whenever like it's come up about us or anything about you, I'm like, well, you should go listen to this episode, and this is what it, like, because seriously, even your story, even though we're so connected, I'm like, no, like, you should hear it from her, or like, there's a full episode on this,
Yeah.
And I don't think that those people ever do go and listen, because I feel like they feel like a slap in the face for me to be like, well, actually,
Listen.
you know, and I feel like too, sometimes people just, there is a nosy aspect to it, just wanting to know more and more and more. And it's like, well, if you want to know more, here, it's all right here for you. If you want to go listen, I'm not going to be the one to go and like to say it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and the game of telephone exists for a reason. I think it's really hard to tell, you know, there's your side, their side, and the real thing that happened. You know, I think it's very hard for somebody to repeat a story back without putting themselves, whether it's their tone, their words, their assumptions into a story. Like, I'm just not okay with that. And I think that if someone has ever told you my sobriety story, it's false and from start to finish.
I hope that people are watching YouTube today
I'm
because
getting real lucky.
Okay, next one.
Someone debates the meaning of sober with you. I knew you'd like that one.
Yeah.
Someone debates the meaning of sober with you.
I've been called out before. I think on the Now and Then we've talked about when there's people that have been like, wait, but are you actually 8 years? Because there were those times that you didn't. I feel like that is totally in this question too.
Yes, totally. Yeah.
But honestly, when the debate of what is sober comes up to me, I always go back to Mr. Webster, the definition of sober.
Dictionary.
The dictionary, literally.
Yeah.
Look up the definition. It is a person being drunk on alcohol.
And I think it's so funny. Okay, this is not funny. I'm saying it in the way that girls say it.
Yeah.
You know what's so funny? Is when people are in active drinking, people that drink every single day, people that drink on the weekends, how often do they call themselves sober? Oh, I'm not going to be sober yet. Or I'll do it when I'm sober. Why are you allowed to call yourself sober the next day?
I've never thought of this, and it's so true.
But we cannot call ourselves sober. Or like, I've had people be like, but are you sober? I'm like, yeah, I don't drink alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and it's just, there's so much like heaviness put on that word sober that people want like a reason for, like, they need it to be heavier. They need it to have the juice.
Yeah. And I think too, it is a way for other people to discredit your sobriety.
Ugh, why would you want to do that?
Well, truly, I think that people that do that, it's a mirror. It's a complete reflection of themselves and their own relationship with alcohol.
Word.
Word. Oh my God. Aggressive.
Word to your mama.
Aggressive. Okay. Just did that one. This one really gets me raging. Someone calls you boring for not drinking. Oh my God. I'll start naming a list of the things I do. You want to call me boring?
You want a boring person do this? All right. That's the opposite. Like, that's when you get going.
Yes,
like,
that's when I get going for sure. I'm like, and too, even in 8 years of sobriety, which it's sad that I still do this, I'm still trying to prove how fun I am as a sober person. It's something I truly work on almost every single day.
Yeah.
But I'll never stop.
Can't stop, won't stop.
It's like, that has been one of my mottos my whole life.
Yeah.
And in so many different versions of my life too. Like, can't stop, won't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop.
But truly, I get so mad. And even on Sunday, this happened, and they're like, so what do you do? And I'm like, I was born with a personality. That's usually my first. And I think what the tone of that usually like hits them so hard that they're like, oh, okay. Like, I'm leaving now. Like, I wish I had that more in other situations. Yeah. But for some reason, this situation just fires me up. How do you respond to that?
If you want to think I'm boring, then go ahead. Like, cool.
See, that's how we're so upset. I'm like, no.
I think I'm the most interesting person to myself. So if you think you're boring, or if you think I'm boring, then that's your problem. But something that you've said, I think you've said it, and I've seen it other places. But if you're going to tell me I'm boring because I don't drink, that insinuates that you think you're boring. and you need alcohol to not be boring.
Yes.
I don't need alcohol to not be boring, but you saying that question usually shows me that you think your life would be really boring, and I'm sorry for you. I'm not. I have been fun from day one.
Yeah.
You know
Heard
what?
that, sister.
And then you add all that trauma on top. I am a funny girl. I will make you laugh all day, and there ain't nothing boring about that.
Amen.
I'll sing you a song. You didn't know that, did you? Allie does.
I do.
Take that boring and stuff it in your sack.
All right. When someone reminds you of what you did when you were drunk.
Kill.
I always think of, actually, it's on Alcohol Free Abby's Instagram page.
Go follow her.
Yeah, she did like what is it called? A voiceover? It's not a voiceover,
yeah.
but like a lip sync.
Voiceover.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
it's like when you think we're laughing about trauma and actually that really traumatized me or something. I can't think of the exact one. I can share it on the day that this episode posts so you guys will know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I think a lot of the time I laugh about my sobriety often. I laugh about my drunkenness often. I did some very hilarious, harmless things, but there are still shameful things that I did that I get surprised about that I still carry because I feel like I have moved past a lot of it and I've gotten through a lot of that shame, and I don't realize that I haven't until it's sent to me in a joke or whatever, and then I'm like, oh, that actually like hit home, you know. And it's always almost triggering to me in the way that it's triggering, like why is this triggering me? Like, well, this isn't who I am, this wasn't what I want, you know. And then I have to remind myself who I am today, who I am right now. The version I am today is very different than the version I once was. And we can't erase our past. And we just, you know, let go of it and move forward, knowing that you're not going to make those mistakes that made you feel so much shame or put you in that trauma-filling time, you know, because I'm going to wake up and know what I did the night before. I'm going to wake up and know exactly how I acted. And if I do need to apologize, it's because I know I need to apologize, not questioning what I need to apologize for.
Yeah, totally.
Sorry,
So much
I didn't
power
mean
in that.
to
No, girl,
really go off on that. But okay, so
Go.
for you,
how
do you feel?
I feel like anytime I got drunk, it was never good. Okay. And that's not true, but that's my lens. That's how I view my drinking. Like, I don't think I ever did anything that was funny. Even if it was funny in the moment, me looking back at it, it's not funny to me because I know where I ended up. I know emotionally what that did to me. And so I don't think anything is funny. And I don't really have this. There's one person in my life that has brought up my past multiple times, and there's a very long pull in between us for multiple reasons, but that's one of them. And it just like, honestly, it like makes me want to cry because it's like, that was so awful. Like, there's so many bad things that go along with my drinking and that went along with my drinking, and to even insinuate, you know, that any part of it was okay is like it hurts me.
And then to even make a joke about it.
To make a joke of it. And like, more so than that, I've had people, because I think there has been so much time in my sobriety and I had a whole career post sobriety, that there was so many people in that career and that I've met along the way, random people that have said things to me like, I wish I could get drunk with you.
Oh, yeah, that one always stings. Or, oh, I miss the drunk alley. Like when you're at a party.
I wish I knew you when you drank. And I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't. You don't. Like, that wasn't me. Like, you're talking about someone who was deeply sad, deeply hurt, who was masking her pain by drinking, who needed a fucking hug and a therapist. Yeah. And like, you're trying to compare that version of me to this beautiful version you see in front of you, and you're trying in any way, shape, or form to tie me back to this person. Like, look at my wings. I have outgrown that. Like that, I broke free from that.
Yes.
And how dare you tie me to my past? I know my past. It's in my body. And it's my story to tell. But for you to come back and throw it in my face just shows me that you don't see me for who I am today. And it makes you feel better about yourself to see me for who I was back then.
Yeah. Oh, boom. Mic drop. If we had real mics, I would drop it.
Throw them on the ground. Yeah. And so I think this is a good place to pause because we have a whole nother list.
Yeah.
So sober
situations.
I'm also sober situations AF part 2 will be coming your way.
Yes.
And if you have any that you've been in that you want to know how we would handle, DM us. But I think until then, where I want to leave is there is power in sobriety, like so much power. And you get to reclaim that. You get to carry that with you, and no one gets to take that away from you. So no matter what situation you are put in, rely on that power because you have it. We love you, babes.
Talk soon.